Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another author live chat with fans. And Sunday, instead of 8 p.m. CST, we are doing this a little bit earlier, 6 p.m. CST, as we will have another guest at 8 p.m. CST. So today is going to be a double show. So this time round, we have author Quinton Douglass Crawford joining us to talk about his latest autobiography. So here's a little bit about the author. He is so this autobiography lists many of the interesting life events, which are considered major and minor instances that define his life so far. So the author selected um, which led to a more meaningful, coherent story for the reader. Lives are filled with many big events, but not everyone can be discussed fully in a synopsis. A lesson to others is to consider summing up these events by choosing which tells your life story as coherently and clearly as possible. So Quinton Douglass Crawford is not new to our show, as he has actually joined us before in a previous episode to talk about his book on the global situation, and it was a pleasure to have him on the show to talk about his book. And I believe this time around it's going to be fantastic to have him again on the show. So yeah, yeah, it is. Without a further ado, and Quinton Crawford Douglas, thank you for joining our show. And this is the second time you're here for our show. So, how are you? How have you been?
I'm fine. Just a little bit on the tired side, as I think you are too, since you just got up in the morning over there.
Yes, it's 8 o'clock over here. It's not too early, I guess. So it's 8 o'clock. It's Monday over here where I'm right now. So yeah. So I believe it's still Sunday. You guys are
Yeah, still Sunday
chilling.
here, in
Still
California.
Sunday,
Yeah,
right? So how have you been? I think it just been like probably a year or so since we
yeah,
touched base in the last show, right? So we were
mhm,
talking about your book, The Global Situation, and it's always a pleasure to have you here back. So how has it been? And tell us a little bit. I mean, I think I briefly introduced you and the book uh,
yeah.
earlier on, but I think it would be great to have you say a little bit about yourself as well.
Yes. And thank you again for last time. I definitely I noticed a slight uptick in sales from that book, the global situation. After after the broadcast of this show. Um, Hopefully, you have the same result here.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you know what? I have always been passionate to talk to authors, especially nonfiction authors, and to hear about what they have to say to the world. It's always
Mhm.
interesting to have different authors and to create a platform for them to be heard, for the audiences to connect with the authors and to really get to know who they are, get personal and up close with authors. So I'm really glad that I'm able to do this and be the platform that I have over here to be an encouragement to authors out there to voice out their opinions and why they started writing, the stories they
Mhm.
have to tell to the world. So yeah, um, likewise, I really hope that this time around, the interview will also be giving you similar result as well. So yeah,
Yes, thank you.
definitely.
Hopefully, I tried to alert all my friends, different friends around the world, over the last 2 days or
Hmm.
so. That's once we've confirmed this time. Um,
I mean, yeah, the replay is always going to be available, and it's going to be up on Instagram. It's going to be up on YouTube as well. So, I
Great.
believe that not just Facebook, but you will also have different platforms,
Yeah.
viewers from different platforms to actually get to know you and your book as well. So definitely not a one-time thing. As you will be getting exposure along the way as well. So
Okay.
yeah, and your
Yes.
new book, right? I mean,
Yes.
before that, you could tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
yourself, use
Yes.
yourself a little bit.
Okay. Well, the autobiography will definitely tell pretty much about me. Better get on to it now that we don't have that much time officially. I'm sure everybody sees the background of my part of my room. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a little busy back there, but
Uh-huh.
it's kind of represents me. Uh, okay. As an educator, there's a lot of different things that I um, focus on: science, social sciences, um, and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
now, within my autobiography, and I'll show it here. Hopefully, it can be seen. Everybody can see it.
Yes,
Very good.
yes, yes.
Okay. Um, I chose a big picture of myself because, well, the book's about me anyway, so I gotta concentrate on on that guy. Um, in order to write an autobiography, I had to do a little bit of research on other autobiographies, um,
Mm-hmm.
and figure on who are the best sellers, what are the best sellers, and um,
Mm-hmm.
mattered within the book that attracted people to go and get that book, besides
Mm-hmm.
knowing the name, which is what I'm getting out there now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed I had some difficulty beginning to write my autobiography because the simple fact that I'm not a person to really gloat about myself. I'm it. It was a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
so I figured the easiest route for me, and with the research and that factor of my personality, which I think my older sister, I have the blame for that, on part, and also somewhat my brother, um, helped kind of tame me down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they know what I mean on that. I was, for a short time, a brat. Um, and I won't. I didn't go too much into that. I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't want anybody to be embarrassed or anything.
Uh-huh.
Which is why I left out a few pieces of my story throughout the book, as I mentioned different people in my
Mm-hmm.
life. Um, Now, when I began the book, I decided to do it in 10-year increments,
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
much as possible. And luckily, my mom is still alive and here.
Mm-hmm.
I could ask her questions of things I didn't remember, and I'll check with my brother and my older sister a little bit, to figure on things that that's my younger sister as well,
Mm-hmm.
to figure on things that happened way back. The clearest memories that I have of the earliest memories are some nightmares.
Mm. Mhm.
Now, I know just about everybody in the world, every adult in the world, probably can remember some of their first nightmares or
Mhm.
dreams. Um, I did have some good ones way back, but I'm not gonna. I don't really recall them very well. But the nightmares come in loud and clear.
Mhm.
Um, One of the scariest and first nightmares that I can recall is of a killer clown. Um,
Mhm.
my father, I believe it was him, that showed me the movie It. Um,
Ah. So this is the sound that we're talking about.
yeah, that clown. I remember that that nightmare. I had come home from school one day. I think I was about 7 or 8 or something. I was allowed to come home to walk from school to home at the time, and I know we lived on a military, an Air Force base. I don't recall which one, whether I was living in England or Spain at the time. Um, but when I opened the door, I saw pieces of my brother and my sister, older sister, just on the ground, on the floor. Uh,
Mhm.
when I opened the door, and blood everywhere, and heard my mom screaming and running towards the front door, but she fell. And the clown caught her arm, as she fell, and she told me to run, screamed
Mhm.
at me to run, and the clown cut her arm off. And I
Mhm.
know that anybody who could imagine that with their family, they would be terrified. Um, so I did, and that's when I woke up screaming.
Mhm.
I remember that. Um, Another nightmare that I had was of a bull.
Mhm.
Now, I'd say that was the scariest nightmare that I think I've ever had in my life. Um, I don't know if anybody out there or you just remember seeing the movie Nightmare on Elm Street. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now
Yes.
that movie, even though that movie came out a lot later than this nightmare
Uh-huh.
to me, some of the scenes reminded me exactly of my nightmare.
Mm.
Um, I had also come home from school one day, and my mom and my baby sister at the time. Um,
Mhm.
I'm hesitant about saying the names of my family members,
Mhm.
but my younger sister and my mom were getting ready to go to a store to get some milk and cereal, I believe, for my older brother and elder sister. 'Cause I know they were going to come home hungry, so mom was trying to rush off to go get something for them. I was hungry when I got home. I had just gotten permission from my parents to be allowed to cook. Just,
Mhm.
I think about 2 weeks earlier,
Mhm.
started to teach me how to do things for myself. Um, so I was really hungry, but I watched my mom and my baby sister driving down the road, going down the hill, and I think we were living in Spain at the time, and going around the corner.
Mhm.
And right when she went around the corner, I heard a sound behind me. I didn't know what it was, but I saw him down the hallway. And the home I live in right now is similar in design as the house that we lived in Spain.
Mhm.
Uh, I I noticed that the door my mother and father's door was opening up by itself, and
Mm-hmm.
it was as black as, I say, your hair. It was that dark in there.
Mm-hmm.
It scared the hell out of me. But I was hungry. I started walking towards the kitchen anyways, instead of leaving out the door, leaving out the front door, which I was right next to at the time. All of a sudden, I started levitating off the ground, off the floor, and my feet started to be started from my feet first, but started to be pulled in or towards that room, and I couldn't control what was going on because one, I wasn't on the ground, and two,
Mm-hmm.
gravity was not there. So I was being pulled towards that door, and what was the time? I was well. The pull got stronger and stronger. I tried to hold on to the bathroom side of the bathroom door, but the power was too much. I couldn't hold myself. I was only about 8 years old or something.
All
So, and
right.
basically slipped in and was sucked
Mm-hmm.
into the room.
Mm-hmm.
And that picture of
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can pull it. I'm gonna show it a little bit here. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
that picture, that bull. Um,
Mm.
get there we go. That
Mm-hmm.
that picture, that bull there was what I saw. It was. I'm sorry, it's not in full color, but it's red background. Um, very eerie looking. And I remember seeing the bull turn its
Mm-hmm.
head, look at me with its glowing red eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Almost there. There it is. Oh, there. Um, its eyes were glowing red and fiery, and I knew where I was. I was down in the underworld, and it started chasing me once I landed in that picture. It started chasing me. It's kind of like in a cartoon. And I definitely couldn't run fast enough, so it gored me with its horns. So the horns went through me, into me, and that's when I screamed out
Mm-hmm.
really loud in pain, as if I was in pain. And I think I remember my older sister ran over to my my room and yelled at me, I believe, and so you can tell a little bit about my past now. Um, my brother came over. My mom and dad came over too. Everybody's wondering what's going on. Am I all right? Or something, whatever they said. I'm sure somebody said, "Shut the something up." So, and anyways, um, like any kid would have done, I'm sure. I think I soiled myself. Yeah. So yeah, that was the first 10 years of my life, and then as going on forward.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
like, in terms of like, what actually motivated you to write this book? Like,
oh,
I believe, that probably we can leave the nitty-gritty details in the book
okay,
because, that's for the
okay,
readers to read and, get to know and everything. But I believe, whatever that you are sharing with us right now,
hmm
it's in the book, and let's
yeah,
just not give away too much, on
okay,
what's in the book.
yeah,
But let's
understandable.
discuss, like, why you've written the book, and
Okay.
I mean, I believe
Well,
that we all have our life, different life experiences. So, what are the things that also people can learn from your book?
okay. Well, besides just noticing that nightmares are nightmares, and there's a reason for them. There's always a root for them, whether it be something in something for your development,
Mm-hmm.
um, or well, or just as I wrote this book in a way as a self therapy.
All right. Uh-huh.
In a sense, I did go through some traumatic health issues over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first main uh, traumatic health issue that happened to me was when I was at a doctor appointment,
Mm-hmm.
and the doctor told me that I had, at the time, pre-diabetes.
Mm.
I almost passed out right there in front of the doctor
Mm-hmm.
in his office, and I was like razor thin close to just dropping. Um, Luckily, there was a nurse next to me at the time when he told me it was a good idea, and a desk or a chair or something on beside me that I could hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one, and also even more recently in 2018, um, I suffered a stroke,
Mm-hmm.
hemorrhagic stroke in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
One of my blood vessels, which I was told way back when I was 13 was too large, had finally popped, finally broke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So um, those two, are some of the events that's happened that led me towards writing an autobiography because
Uh-huh.
I don't know when my time is up.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any kids, and I think I've had a strong feeling I need to leave something behind just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So I've written the other books I've written, and I have two more that I'm doing right now. Um, and well, this autobiography, well, I needed something to help me in one part to remember as many things as I possibly can because
Mm-hmm.
stroke did affect me in a couple other ways with memory, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to also reassure myself that there are things that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I can always pick up the book again and refresh myself.
Ah, right. So, in terms of the feedback that you've gotten from your readers, your family and friends, ever since the book is out, what kind of feedback that you've gotten so far?
Um, some smiles when I let uh, my younger sister know that I did this. Um, I think she said she bought uh,
Ah, okay.
two books.
Uh-huh.
She has two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my some of my nieces. Um, I'm starting to miss them right now that we're talking about.
All
uh,
right. Are they living close to where you are right now?
Somewhat. Think about 40 miles away. Well,
Ah,
miles over. You do kilometers, so I think that's what is that
it's
50
not too far,
kilometers?
right?
50
Yeah,
something?
that's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. Um, and well, my older brother, I believe I think he's got a copy of it. I'm not 100% certain right now. Our conversations haven't really went on to that subject. Um, but within the book, I told him that I mentioned him a few times in the book because he's been one of my heroes in my life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, Besides my parents,
Mm-hmm.
him and there's a few other fictional characters as well. uh,
So, and let's not forget about the your search for the girl that you met at
yeah,
school. So maybe
most important person in my life.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. I mean, maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, like how
yeah,
you met the girl and how you've been trying to reach out to the person, but you're still
okay.
trying to find her.
Right. Well, Jennifer Whitman was her name. I didn't know her name when I first met her, as far as I remember. She started school a little late. Um, it was at
Mm-hmm.
Travis Air Force Base where we met. Hopefully, somewhere out there, somebody may know her, or maybe she's listening, or maybe listening at some point on YouTube when this is up there. Um, well, Jennifer, remember one day when I came out to recess. I believe this was the fourth grade. It was, I think we were both 10 years old. Um, I walked around the corner from our classroom, and around the corner of the building, and she was standing there with some new friends, talking with them. There's some girls that were just trying to get to know her. Um, and we looked each other's eyes, and about 3 seconds later, we were hooked on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Just bam, love at first sight. That's my soulmate. Um, a lot of people say that that doesn't exist, but I can't believe them. I have
Mm-hmm.
direct proof. Um, um, for many decades, I've been looking for her. Um, I remember the very last day that I saw her at school. She was, I think her father was being transferred to another base, so she had to leave with because, of course, she's the daughter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know what race she was. I couldn't tell. I wasn't experienced or
Mm-hmm.
thought to think that way. Think of where people come from. That's her. Yes. So I did a age progression um,
Right.
service from a picture that I had. She last time I think it was a school picture. She was wearing something very similar to this. So the age progression did the, the artificial intelligence did this
Mm-hmm.
the clothing. Um, I spent a few $100s at the time, several decades ago, um, to figure out how old she would be at, now. So I think that was about to age 35. I think I was asking um,
Mm-hmm.
what she would look like at that age. Um, so over the decades, I've been looking for her. Um, really, ever since she left. The last word she said to me was, "Wait for me."
Uh-huh.
And I know that would sound like cliche romantic, whatever. But as I said earlier, I did some research on how different autobiographies worked and reasons why they became more famous or more highly
Mm-hmm.
appealing. So I figured to add this story in as well. Um, there have been other women that I've been, of course, friends with, or young women I've been friends with when I was younger than now. Um, relationships. I'm not going to say among the book who was a relationship. I didn't say that because I know some people are married, uh,
Mm-hmm.
have a kid. Um, I'm not trying to damage any of their lives. I just wanted to tell my story. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everybody is important.
Uh-huh. So hopefully, I mean, like, through this book, it is your aspiration to reach out to her and,
Yes.
possibly reconnect with her. So this is also one of the efforts, one of the reasons for getting the book out there, right? So, I mean, apart from that, like, what other aspects of your life that people can expect from your book? I mean, from the
Mm.
Amazon layout, the content layout, I think that we were able to see just now. I think we saw the content layout, but I think will be here. Here it is. So you have broken the experiences down like in 10-year incremental
Yes.
duration. So you have like
Mhm.
from 1971 to 81, your childhood, and then you have the next 10 years over here, and then the following about 5 years or so over here, about 15 years over here, and then I think these are all mostly your teaching experiences. Am I right to say that?
Yes. I did that. There's There's been I've had quite a few experiences in teaching. Um, one of the most important ones that I've had was just before I became a teacher, a
Mm-hmm.
substitute teacher at least.
Mm-hmm.
That was when I was um, working for a program called the Success Consortium. It
Mm-hmm.
was a state program that the budget was cut, governor way back, but I worked at a school called Sassoon Elementary
Mm-hmm.
School, and at the time I was essentially a high-paid tutor,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, um, or academic advisor was the title. Um, there was a time where there was a girl named Ashley Sampson. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I remember her. I remember as one at the time I was under contract for a certain amount of time to work at that school. The
Mm-hmm.
one of the last weeks of my assignment there, I was asked to work with a fifth grade girl um,
Mm-hmm.
that worried me a lot. I'm trying to
Uh,
find. She had told me that her mother and father. I'm trying to find her picture in my book. Same time I'm talking. Um, she told me that I think her dad told her she was stupid,
mm-hmm.
and that shocked me, as I never heard anything like that before. Um,
Uh-huh.
and her mother said something similar to that. And I I turned around and I kind of begged the principal and my
Mm,
supervisor to let me stay until school's out, because it was going to be, I think it was May that my contract was going to be up, and school isn't out until June. Oh, there she is, on page 44. Um, I'll put
so,
the picture up. Oh,
uh-huh.
okay. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
The girl in the center.
yeah.
Um, I remember she said those things to me, and I begged my supervisor and the principal to let me stay longer, because I wanted to work with her, get her confidence up, and success. It did happen. The very
Uh-huh.
last day of school, I decided to come back the very last day of school. I wasn't allowed to or really supposed to, but I came back
Uh-huh.
anyway. So I want to say goodbye. These kids,
Right.
they told me that they wouldn't have graduated fifth grade without my help.
That's nice.
Yeah, and right there at the door, I started crying. It was just too
I
much.
think, yeah, definitely. I think working with kids and your experience as a teacher would probably be one of the most fundamental
Mhm.
experiences that you've ever had in your life. And
They
so
made me decide to become a teacher. Just,
So, I mean, like, as we are coming close to the end of the show,
mhm.
do you have anything to say to your readers out there? Why should they buy this book? And what do you think that you have in store for them?
Okay. Well, first, I would hope that my book, which is also a collective of other autobiographies,
Mm-hmm,
may help others to be able to write their own. Um,
mm-hmm,
Another thing is, none of us know how much time we have in our lives or of
mm-hmm,
our lifetimes. So I think it is a good idea, no matter who you are or how old you are,
mm-hmm,
to at least begin to write something, some story of yourself.
mm-hmm,
Those that come after you, family members, um, could be a niece, nephew, um, daughter, son. Um, them have something else to remember you by.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But,
Right.
I'm sure you'll find it a great help, or they'll find it
Uh-huh.
a great.
I mean, like, thank you so much for putting this book out there and encouraging people to write about them, to write about their lives. And thank you so much for sharing your life experiences with us as well. And thank you so much for joining us today to talk about your book, talk about your life experiences. And also I hope that people who are watching this now and people who are watching this later on will be able to pick up your book, get a copy of your book from Amazon, and also from your website, oneglobalbook.com, and read the book, reach out to you, leave their reviews, and be inspired, get inspired to start writing, to start sharing their stories to people as well. So, with that, we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining
All
us
right.
again, and
Yes, I'll be
thank you.
back. I got a few other stories coming up.
Fantastic. I mean, so this is probably not the last time that we're gonna meet. We will definitely be getting in touch again. I'll be seeing you again with your new books, and we've got more to talk about. But until then, I wish you all the best, and stay healthy, stay safe, and we will see you again in the upcoming episodes. Looking forward to hearing from you. And of course, this video is also going to be up on YouTube and Instagram. I'll be sending you the link. Thank you so much for joining, and have a fantastic week ahead, Quinton. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.